and would go to church like that. And little corsages. All right, so we're going to start now. So welcome if you haven't been here before. Welcome back if you have been here. My name is Ani Pomo. I am a Buddhist nun and the director of Songtsen Gampo Buddhist Center of Cleveland, which is actually in Lakewood, which is a suburb of Cleveland. So every Sunday we have these guided meditations and a little Dharma talk live stream on YouTube because we can't meet in our center anymore. So unfortunately, so here we are, and I'm so happy to have all of you guys with me today. So without further ado, we will begin. So in Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism or Tibetan Buddhism, we always start with what's called a Bodhichitta Motivation. So what that means is just that we have a strong desire to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So everything we do, we're doing with that thought in mind. So even something like just this hour that we're going to spend together today, we should really be thinking of doing that with that motivation. So please, whatever your belief system is, at least to think, may this time we spend together be beneficial, not only for myself, but for others as well. Okay? And then we just want to take a moment to think about our precious teachers from Buddha Shakyamuni down to the present day, who have so kindly kept their bodhisattva vow to continue to return to cyclic existence to benefit us and to benefit all sentient beings. Without them, really, the Dharma would not survive until this year. It's been, something like 2,500 or 600 years since the Buddha attained enlightenment, and that's a really long time. And without these masters attaining enlightenment themselves and being able to express it to us, to prove and provide an example to us and guide us, we would have nothing but text, and even that we might not have. So we just like to, think of them with some measure of respect and gratitude, so that we can, just with some measure of respect and gratitude. So, and if from a Buddhist standpoint, then we also ask for their blessings too, so we can understand the teachings and put them into practice as best we can, right? That's the point. Okay. So today I want to talk about Buddha nature. So this word, Buddha nature, is it's not really the best translation, but it's the most frequent translation that you'll see. It's been translated to as kind of basic goodness, which is maybe a little more palatable to Westerners in particular. But Buddha nature has really nothing to do with the Buddha in a sense, because it's something that everyone has. Buddha nature means that we all already have within us the qualities of enlightenment. So it means that we have in us compassion, we have wisdom, we have patience and love, and all of these things in us already. And the path is not a matter of introducing things into us that we don't already have. The path is a matter of uncovering those things, like removing the veils to understanding those things, to realizing that we are, in a sense, already enlightened, okay? And this view of basic goodness or fundamental goodness is really important. It's a really important understanding for a lot of different reasons. And it's not something that is like airy-fairy. It's not something that, like my dad used to say, it's not blowing sunshine up your skirt. I know there's a more crude way of saying that, but that's what he used to say. So it's not just, something to make you feel good. That's where I'm going. Okay. Oh yes, I'm already a Buddha. Everything's fine. Tra la la. It's not about that. It's a logical argument, actually. So from that point of view, what they're saying is that it has to be that way. Logically, it must be that we already have those qualities. And here's why. Because from Buddhist philosophy, okay, all compounded things are impermanent. All right? All compounded things are impermanent. So what is a compounded thing? What does that mean, compounded? Compounded means any two things put together. Okay? So any two things that are two or more things put together is compounded. Okay? Hi, Jim. So any two things put together is compounded. And so any two things put together, any two or more things put together must come apart. All right? So I always am showing my phone, but it's the only thing I have at hand. So this phone, all right, it's made of a lot of different parts and will come apart. All right. This body is made of a lot of different parts. It will come apart. These glasses are made of a lot of different parts. They will come apart. Okay. So all compounded things are impermanent. But once you attain enlightenment, once you attain full enlightenment, okay, you cannot go back. You can't become unenlightened. So full enlightenment is in that sense permanent. It can't be undone. Up until that point, if you're even like one step away from full enlightenment, you can go back. Okay? So, but once you attain full enlightenment, that's it. It can't be undone. Therefore, enlightenment cannot be compounded. Do you see? Do you understand this logic? Okay. It's not that hard to understand. And I know you guys are smart, so I'm not worried about you understanding it. So that's the logic, essentially. Okay. And they say also that if we must have these qualities kind of inherent to us already. All right. Otherwise, enlightenment would be a compounded phenomena and therefore impermanent. All right. That's one. The other point is that any kind of spiritual progress would be impossible if we did not already have these qualities in us, right? Because every time, if we were, let's look at it the opposite way. Let's say that we're fundamentally bad, okay? If we were fundamentally bad, then any spiritual progress that we did, we would just go back. We would just go back to our fundamental badness, our fundamental evil nature, our fundamental bad nature, okay? So that doesn't work. That's not how we are, right? Spiritual progress, I don't care if it's Buddhism or Christianity or, Islam or whatever, right? It's possible to make spiritual progress in any authentic spiritual path. And that itself proves that we have this kind of basic goodness. So the example that they give is like a piece of cloth with a stain on it. Yeah. That stain is not inherent to the cloth, right? It's what's called adventitious. It's something that is, temporary and sort of added on. It's temporary. It's not inherent in that cloth, okay? So if it's temporary, it can be removed, yeah, and then the cloth is clean, all right? So you can take that stain and you can put, OxyClean on it or bleach or soap and water or whatever, and you can remove that stain. Then the cloth is back to its natural state, okay? So that these kind of, let's say, not very attractive or sort of unskillful behaviors that we have, like anger and hatred and violence and all of that is not part of our true nature. Our true nature is Buddha nature or enlightened nature. Okay. So the example they give there is, our true nature is like this cloth that happens to have a stain on it right now, and the path is removing that stain. Okay. If we were fundamentally bad, it would be like trying to wash a lump of coal. You can wash it as much as you want, and it will never get clean. Okay. So that is the other kind of another logical argument there. Okay. So those are excuse me. Oh, pardon me. So those are two of the logical arguments behind the fact that we have this Buddha nature. The other reason why it's not just intellectually important to know that we have Buddha nature, it's also kind of, I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say really emotionally, but kind of, I don't know. I can't think of a word, but let's say emotionally right now because I can't think of a better word. But if we want to, sometimes we have a kind of self-criticism or self-loathing or even depression, this kind of thing, right? Then we need to remember that we have Buddha nature. Okay. And the teachings say this, yeah. It's a balance. Okay. They say, like, we have to keep ourselves sort of balanced. We have to keep ourselves kind of in the middle, yeah. If we get too proud and we start to think like, oh, I'm better than the lamas, and I'm really great, and tomorrow I'm going to be enlightened, and I don't need teachings, and I don't need to practice, and that kind of stuff, then it says, compare yourselves to the teachers, compare yourselves to the lamas, compare yourselves to the Buddha, and see, yeah, maybe I have some work to do. Okay. But if, on the other hand, we start to feel like, oh, I'm hopeless and I'm stupid and I'll never get this and I just keep failing, then we should understand and remember we have Buddha nature. And all we have to do is keep trying, because we have Buddha nature. It's like inevitable. Yeah. As long as we keep trying, at some point we will attain enlightenment because we have Buddha nature. Okay. So that's a really skillful means for picking ourselves up when we're feeling down, when we're feeling worthless, to remember, hey, I have Buddha nature, I'm like a baby Buddha. It's okay. I'm going to be good. I'm good. It's all right. Okay. It's also a really good practice for kind of generating respect and, yes, respect for others. In other traditions like Christianity or some other traditions, you might think about sort of seeing the divine spark in others or the divine nature of others. It's kind of like that. You're not the only one who has Buddha nature, right? Everyone has Buddha nature. Okay, even Donald Trump has Buddha nature. Okay, it's true, whether we like to think about it or not, it's really true. Okay. But let's bring it down to just the people that we know, people that we know that we might get angry with. Ooh, somebody left because I said Donald Trump is Buddha nature. Okay, well, live and learn. Oh, two people left. Okay, well, such is life. So anyway, when you think about the people in your life, okay, who maybe you know them, maybe you're close to them, maybe you don't know them, but you don't like them, okay, and you feel like that person is just evil, or that person is worthless, or that person is bad, we have to remember they have Buddha nature also, yeah. It might be quite hidden at this point. It might be really covered over by their own kind of, negative karma, by their own pain, by their own ignorance. Might be sort of buried, right? But it's there. It's there. So if we interact with others on the basis of them having Buddha nature, uh, it's great. We really would be so much more open to them, uh, more like respectful of them, more kind to them. I really, one of my favorite teachings of Christ is that there's just a couple of teachings of Christ that a lot of them that I really like, as I was raised Catholic, so that's my background. But that one where he said, even the least among you, is me, sort of. I never know how to say it. I have to look it up and print it out somewhere. But it's sort of everyone you see is me. When you accept a guest, when you are helping the sick, you're me. Which I don't think he said this, but it means when you're beating somebody up, you're beating me up too. So it's sort of this invitation, I think, to see everyone as Christ. Um, I remember when I was in India, and I was talking to one of Mother Teresa's nuns. Mother Teresa was still alive at the time. Unfortunately, she was very sick when I was there, so I didn't get to see her. I was sort of really wanted to meet her in person. But anyway, I was kind of had a friendship with one of her nuns. And this nun was telling me she started out working in Calcutta with Mother Teresa. And just like the place where the people go, like the really most destitute people go to die, really. And this woman had come in, and she had some kind of really bad infection in her private area. And you have to understand that Indian culture, I mean, even for us, this would, you know, it can be a little bit difficult. Yeah. But in Indian culture, it's really much more intense. Yeah. It's much more pain. I don't know. You know what I mean? Uncomfortable, quite uncomfortable in the best of circumstances, uncomfortable. It's not something that is, uh, part of their culture, really, like it is with us, to be a little bit wild around these things, right? So anyway, this woman had a really bad infection there, and Mother Teresa told this nun to go take care of her, go clean her. And she sort of looked at that area, and there was like maggots there. And this woman just couldn't, this nun just like, she couldn't take it. She just couldn't do it, you know? And she went back to Mother Teresa, and she was like, I can't do it. Please give me something else. I just cannot do this. And Mother Teresa said to her, that is Christ. That woman is Christ. Go back and do that, And she said it like changed everything for her, to see everyone that she was serving as Christ. So in that sense, in a way, to see everyone is a Buddha. Everyone has Buddha nature. Everyone is basically good, no matter how they're displaying right now. Okay? So to see others like that, to see them not just as good, but as sacred, and to see ourselves as sacred, and to see the world as sacred. I think if we all, did that even a little bit more, there would be, a lot more kindness. There would be a lot more patience, a lot more peace, and also a lot more respect for Mother Earth. Yeah. And for animals also, because they also have Buddha nature. So that's the other point about Buddha nature, yeah? Every sentient being, humans, every human being, every animal, even insects, yeah? Every fish, okay? They all have Buddha nature. So, please don't eat them or contribute to their suffering in any way if possible, okay? So, what else I want to say about Buddha nature? Basic goodness. So, as I said earlier, like the practice is a matter of uncovering our true nature, yeah, these enlightened qualities. So, even when we're doing a practice like the one we're about to do of, mindfulness of breathing practice, we're not introducing awareness, okay? We're like accessing, if you want, we're accessing our awareness, our innate awareness, okay? We have awareness. Awareness is not something that, comes over the clouds from India, all right? In some mystical, array, a rainbow that, crosses the Pacific to here, all right? It's in us already. We have awareness. It's not magic, okay? The fact that you are paying attention right now to, hopefully, paying attention right now to what I'm saying is awareness. If you turn your attention to your body and where you're sitting, you're aware of your body. If you pay attention to whatever sounds are happening right now or the lack of sounds that are happening right now, you're aware. So all we're doing when we're practicing mindfulness of breathing is we are practicing that kind of awareness. We are getting used to that awareness. So in fact, the word for meditation in Tibetan is gom, G-O-M, gom, okay? And gom means to get used to become familiar with, all right? So we are becoming familiar with awareness when we do mindfulness of breathing practice. We are becoming familiar with or getting used to compassion, when we practice the next practice we're going to do after that, which is practice of exchange. Okay. So when we do mindfulness of breathing practice, we are, in a sense, becoming aware of our awareness, if that makes sense, and becoming aware of our distraction. Okay. So we're sitting, we're keeping our posture, which I will explain to you in a minute. And we're focusing on the breath, sensation of the breath coming in and out of the nose, just this area here. And we're just letting the thoughts come and go. All right. So a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that we're trying to stop thinking. All right. We're not trying to stop thinking. Okay. That's not really possible in any case. So if you approach meditation with that thought, like I have to stop thinking, you're going to really be in trouble. Okay. It's not about stopping thinking. All right. It's about not getting engaged in those thoughts. Okay. So let's say like you're sitting and thought arises, oh, today's Easter. Okay. And all you want to do is just let that thought go. The thought will arise, today's Easter, it will pass. And another thought will arise, blue house, it will pass. And another thought will arise, it's cloudy, it will pass. Okay. And just keep your mind on the breath and let those thoughts come and go. Okay. That's what you want to do. All right. What you want to avoid is running after that thought, jumping into the storyline. Okay. So what that looks like is this: you're sitting, thought arises, today's Easter. Oh yeah, today's Easter. oh, normally I'd be getting together with my family and we would have this lamb cake, right? And I remember when I was little, we wore these little dresses and little hats and little flowers. And oh, and now my father's dead and all my brothers and sisters and when I was 12 and 20 minutes goes by and we've just been lost in thought. Okay, that's what we're trying to avoid. All right. Having said all that, that is kind of unavoidable, especially at the beginning. Okay. So don't feel like it's a failure if you get lost in thought. This is the habit of the mind. You're going to get lost in thought. Okay. So the point is, as soon as you realize, oh, I'm lost, yeah, just bring the mind back. That realization, oh, I'm lost, is your natural awareness arising. That's the very thing we're trying to cultivate or strengthen, let's say. Okay? So as soon as you realize, oh man, I got lost, that's your awareness. That's not a failure, that's a victory. Okay? So rather than saying, oh, I get lost in okay, just be like, oh, cool, my awareness, this is just victory. Yay, I realized. And just go back to the breath. Okay? So we're going to start that now. So if you are sitting on the floor, just make sure that you're comfortable. You're on a comfortable cushion. Your legs should be crossed in whatever way is comfortable for you. If you're sitting in a chair, just make sure that your back is straight. That your feet are flat on the floor. All right? Otherwise, all the instructions are the same. Right? So your hands should be either palms down on your knees, palms up, one on top of the other in your lap. It doesn't matter which one is on top. Or with your fingers on top of each other and your thumbs touching like that, okay, in your lap. All right. Then your arms are relaxed. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit. So you're not holding them. You're not holding them out. You're not squeezing them in. Just relaxed. Okay. You might want to just roll your shoulders back so your chest is kind of open. Okay. Then your back is straight. This is the main thing, okay? That your back is straight. Not like you're in the army, but just straight, okay? That's the main point. So many nerves run up and down your spine, so it should be straight, okay? So the back of your neck is also straight, so your chin is going to be tucked in just a little, not like this, right? But just, you shouldn't be like that. Just tucked in a little bit because your back is straight also. Your mouth is closed but relaxed. So not like that. Okay. Just relaxed. Tongue resting on the roof of the mouth. Breathing through the nose. Ideally, your eyes are open. So if you look straight ahead, it's sort of half open. Look straight ahead and then just lower your eyes about halfway. That's a good position for the eyes. In our tradition, at least from our own teachers, it's quite important for a few reasons. It helps us to stay awake, just practically speaking. It helps us to avoid more easily kind of falling into a half sleep, which sometimes people mistake for a meditative state. And it does affect different parts of the brain than when we are with our eyes closed. Okay. So if you can, please do that. If you can't, don't worry about it. All right. So then that's it for the position of the body. Okay. So we hold the body like that in this posture because it helps the mind in meditation. Okay. So all I want you to do is just bring your awareness to the breath. Okay. Coming in and out of the nose. And just keep a relaxed focus there. Letting the thoughts come and go without being disturbed by them, without judging them, without rejecting them, and without following them. Okay? So I'll ring the gong. We'll meditate for a few minutes, and then I'll ring the gong again. Okay? Letting the thoughts come and go. Relaxed awareness of the breath. Just let the mind be. Relax the body as much as possible while maintaining the posture, and breathe. Okay, now begin to count the breaths. counting either every in-breath or every out-breath to a total of 10 breaths. Counting helps us to realize more quickly if we've gotten distracted. So if you lose count, you got distracted. Simple as that. So as soon as you realize that you've lost count, just come back. No big deal. Just come back. Start again at 1. If you get to 10, come back. Start again at 1. If you go beyond 10, it's another form of distraction. So as soon as you realize that, just come back. Start again at 1. So please begin that now. Check your posture. Okay, so now we're going to do another practice called Tomlin, which means giving and receiving. In English, it's called the practice of exchange. So what are we exchanging, or what are we giving, and what are we receiving? So as I said earlier, this practice is specifically for developing compassion. So the main obstacle towards having unlimited compassion towards all sentient beings is putting ourselves first. It's kind of our own self-cherishing. So this practice is really just turning that on its head, turning that upside down, so we can work that muscle, if you will, of compassion. So what are we giving is our own happiness, and what are we receiving is the suffering of others. So I understand that that can sound quite masochistic, but it's not about that. Okay, it's not about that at all. It's just about putting others first and getting our heart and our mind kind of used to that idea. Practicing with the heart so that we don't have to try to be compassionate, so that we can just have a compassionate heart. Okay. So today, what we're going to do we have 4 different individuals. I'm not going to go into explaining the whole thing because we don't have that much time. But there's normally 4 different individuals that we work with, and we've done 3 of them so far in this series. Someone we love, someone that is neutral to us. So that's like neighbor, sort of mail carrier, this kind of thing. Someone we dislike. Then the 4th, so we develop compassion for ourselves. So that's the one that we're going to do today. Okay. So why is this important? We have to have compassion for ourselves. I know that it can be hard for some people to do that. I'm one of those people. It can be quite difficult. Some people tend to be harder on themselves than they are on others. So it's important to do that because we need to be healthy. We need to be healthy in mind. We need to be healthy in body in order to help others. That's one reason. It's also, like I said, we're trying to develop a compassionate heart. We're trying to have a heart that doesn't have hatred in it anymore, that only has compassion in it. So if we have, love and compassion for every but ourselves, if we have, 95% of our heart is dedicated to having love and compassion for everyone, and 5% of our heart is dedicated to having hatred and contempt for ourselves, there's going to be an issue, right? Then it's a heart that isn't 100% compassionate. Okay? So that's why. Those are some of the reasons why we need to develop this practice, have this practice. Okay? The other thing is that this practice is really helpful if we're feeling bad, like these days, so hard for so many people, being alone, especially on a holiday like this, where we might be used to being with our families, being isolated, feeling isolated. So this kind of thing, it's really helpful to do this kind of practice for ourselves. If we're sick in mind or body, this practice is very good. It's also a practice that's really good for kind of rejuvenating ourselves. So if we, as I said, if we're sick or something like that, but also if we have a job that is very draining. So like, I wish I could give this practice to all the healthcare workers and all the people that we see mentioned all the time who are at the front lines, people working in grocery stores and, mail carriers and, food distributors and all the rest of it, all these people that continue to put themselves in harm's way so we can continue to live. If they could do this practice, I think it would really help them to rejuvenate and to not be so drained. So anyway, so let's start the practice now. I will just guide you through it. Okay. The first part is just that I'm going to ring this. I call it a gong. It's a big singing bowl, but it's easier to call it a gong. So I'm going to ring the gong. And what I want you to do when I do that is just listen to the sound as long as you can hear it, and then let your mind rest. Okay. That means not trying to concentrate on anything and also not being distracted. Just let the mind kind of just settle. Okay. And then the rest I will describe as we go along. All right. So let's begin that now. Sit straighter. Okay. So you want to take the posture again. This one, if you want to close your eyes, it's perfectly fine for this one. Okay. Okay. So now imagine in your heart center, which is the middle of your chest, a very bright white light like a shining star, with light going in all directions. And now consider that you're breathing in gray smoke, hot, dark, and heavy, through all the pores of your body, every particle of smoke dissolving into the white light in your heart center, until there's not a single particle left, there's only light. And now consider that you're breathing out this white light through all the pores of your body, cool, clear, very bright, light in weight, the light going in all directions as far as the eye can see. Okay. Now, imagine yourself in front of yourself. So just picture another you there. Okay. Just facing you. And then just look at yourself like you would a dear friend. Okay. Notice without embarrassment, without being shy, all of your good qualities, your intelligence, kindness, whatever talents you have, the way you try your best every day to fulfill whatever roles you have in life, and appreciate the good qualities that you have. Appreciate your goodness. And then consider however you are suffering right now. You know better than anyone what you're going through. So just think about that. Allow yourself to be open to those various types of suffering, physical, mental, emotional. And then generate compassion for your own suffering. Form the wish that you be free of that suffering. So the you that is meditating is the part of you that is completely in touch with your innate wisdom and compassion. The you that you're visualizing is the part of yourself that is suffering and in pain, okay? So as you consider these sufferings, meditating you is developing compassion, love towards the visualized you. Now you consider that all of the pain and suffering of the visualized you takes the form of gray smoke, hot, dark, and heavy. And it leaves the visualized you, it comes to the meditating you, and you breathe that in through all the pores of your body. Okay? And every particle of that smoke dissolves into the white light in your heart center. Till there's not a single particle left, there's only light. Now you offer yourself happiness, good fortune, anything at all that you might need to feel better, along with the wish that you attain full and complete enlightenment in this very life. And all of that takes the form of white light, cool, clean, clear, very bright. You breathe out this white light through all the pores of your body. The light goes from the meditating you to the visualized you. And when the rays of light touch the visualized you, you see all of your suffering just disappear, just evaporate. And you see yourself so relieved, happy, peaceful, relaxed, joyful. And you feel really joyful for being able to do this for yourself. Now we do the same for all sentient beings, first picturing them around us. In front, as many beings as you can conceive of, stretching all the way to the horizon. To the right, as many beings as you can imagine, all the way to the horizon. Behind, again, as many beings as you can conceive of, all the way to the horizon. And to the left, as many beings as you can imagine, all the way to the horizon. So now you're surrounded, as far as the eye can see, by a sea of sentient beings. And the first thing that we want to do is to consider our connection to all these beings. We want to consider how we are all the same, and that each one of us wants to be happy. Each one of us wants to avoid suffering. And sadly, each one of us suffers nonetheless. And we want to consider our connection to all of them, in that, well, the Buddha taught that each one of them has been our kind and loving mother in the past, in our past countless lives. But if we don't accept that, that's fine. We just think about how we're connected now. I mean, this virus has shown us that, if nothing else, we're very connected. And like I was saying earlier, we might think, oh, I don't need anybody, I'm a rugged individualist, but really, we need so many people just to get through a single day, right? Our clothing, our food, our electricity, our housing, our transportation, roads, hospitals, businesses, so many things. We rely on others. So with that in mind, we develop a sense of, love and compassion and gratitude towards them. And we think of the myriad ways in which they suffer and form the wish that they be free of that suffering. And then we consider that whatever they're going through, no matter how intense, takes the form of gray smoke, hot, heavy, dark, and it leaves all of them and it comes to you without any hesitation. You breathe that in through all the pores of your body. Every particle of that smoke dissolves into the white light in your heart center until there's not a single particle left. There's only light. And then you offer all of these beings, without exception, your own happiness, your own good fortune, and anything else that they may need to be free from suffering. And adding to that the wish that they attain full and complete enlightenment in this very life. And all of that takes the form of very, very bright white light, cool, clean, clear, very bright, that emanates from your heart in all directions as far as the eye can see. And when these rays of light touch all of these beings, each individually, their suffering just disappears. It lifts off of them and dissipates into the sky like fog in the morning sun. And they feel so happy, so relieved, so at ease. And you feel joyful for being able to do this for them, as you would. Okay. Now, let the visualization go altogether. Gently bring the mind back to the sensation of the breath coming in and out of the nose, being in the present moment, here and now. Okay, before we do question and answer, I just want to do the dedication prayer. First in English and then in Tibetan. I know that some of you know it, so if you want to do it with me, please feel free to do it with me, okay? By this merit, may all attain omniscience, may defeat the enemy, wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of cyclic existence, may I free all beings. Sonam di tamche zipani, tobne ni pedranam pamche shing, Gegana chibalo trupai, sipe sole droa sho. Umedza sato samayama no panaya, penza sato tanapa, tididu mebawa, sudagai mebawa, subagai, anuraj mebawa, sarasari mebaraj, sarapava sujame, chitam shri yam kurung, ha 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 ha, ho bhagawa, pasmai matsavajabama, samaya sato, ah. Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming, everyone. But now you can go to the chat and ask me some questions if you want. It can be about what we talked about today, or it can be about anything you like. Omani, come here. If you want to see Omani. Omani, come here. Oh, it's the worst. No questions? Oh, here he comes. Omani, hurry up. Come here. What? Sorry. Come here. Oh, Grandpa. Come over here. Come over here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, there's Almighty. There's my baby with his eye boogers. And my laundry. All right, no questions. So I'm going to say goodbye and have a great day. And please stay safe. Okay. Oops. Any word on the Shantaloop retreat? No, they didn't. They're not doing anything this summer because of the virus. Sorry. If you're on their newsletter, if you're not on their newsletter, get on their newsletter so that you can find out. But if we hear anything, we'll put it in our newsletter. Oh, that's what else I wanted to say before you guys go. I didn't get a chance because I messed up today because I started the video on my personal YouTube channel instead of on this channel because I didn't know where I was. So that's why I was late this morning also. But after this video, and if you look at the previous live videos, it's there. So there's check out our website, sign up for the newsletter. We would really appreciate donations if you can, so we can keep doing free stuff like this. What else? I can't remember, but there'll be a bunch of links down here once I do the editing for this video. But if you need them right now, you can just go to one of the other videos and everything's under there. And I'll be doing other classes, everything's online now, right? So our classes are online and so forth. So I'll be starting a new class probably in about 3 or 4 weeks on Tuesday nights. And I also want to do a seminar on depression. And I keep talking about that, but I haven't gotten it to. When will depression teaching? I don't know. I'm still working on it. I don't want to just, I want to be like properly prepared. So, and I'm trying to figure out like how to do that is going to work for people. So this weekend we're having a Nundro for the Nundro group. We're having a little retreat. So I want to see how that works. And then once I figure that out, then I should be able to, have a schedule and work out a time for the depression seminar. So if you're wondering what that is about, it's just that, I have had depression since I was 6 years old. I'm now 50, almost 58. And I found certain Buddhist teachings and certain just ordinary things that have really helped me to deal with it. Okay. I still have it, but, I'm still alive. So that's quite a testament in my view. So I will be, using meditation, certain meditations that really help, like this one that we did today, for example, super helpful. And then certain teachings, and then just certain skillful means and things like that can really help. So I would encourage you, if you have depression, to come, or if you know someone or close to someone who has depression, to come to that. It will be on Zoom. So if you don't have Zoom, then you'll want to download Zoom for that. And it will be by donation only, because I really want the maximum amount of people to have access to that, especially now, because I think a lot of people are suffering, who have depression are suffering more now because of the isolation. It's hard, something that really helps when you have depression is be able to see people, to hug people, to be around people. And like nobody can do that now. So, so if that is the case for you, please hang in there, huh? Okay. All right. Any other questions? Hi, Laura. I'm sorry I didn't say hi to you before. I didn't want to lose my train of thought. Okay. All right, everybody. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. And I will